Russia has teamed up with China, North Korea and Iran. They are expanding their militaries and their capabilities. Putin's war machine is speeding up, not slowing down. Russia is reconstituting its forces with Chinese technology and producing more weapons faster than we thought. In terms of ammunition, Russia produces in 3 months what the whole of NATO produces in a year. And its defense industrial base is expected to roll out 1,500 tanks, 3,000 armored vehicles and 200 Iskander missiles this year alone. Russia could be ready to use military force against NATO within 5 years. 5 years. Let's not kid ourselves. We are all on the eastern flank now. The new generation of Russian missiles travel at many times the speed of sound. The distance between European capitals is only a matter of minutes. There is no longer East or West. There is just NATO.
This is my video update on this Tuesday afternoon, June the 10th, coming to you from Athens, Greece. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with more Russian missile and drone strikes into Ukraine. Yesterday, the Russian military, they targeted Kiev, and they really smashed Kiev, the Russian military, yesterday with missiles and drones. The Ukraine air defense systems, the Patriot systems were once again a no-show pretty much, and the Russian military, they hit military facilities, they hit energy infrastructure, they smashed, or they're smashing, Ukraine's drone production supply chain. It looks like that is what Russia is really going after, the military manufacturing and the drone manufacturing facilities of Ukraine. And a lot of these buildings seem to be in Kiev. And this is all according to Russian sources and the Russian Ministry of Defense. One building that was hit, which is interesting, a lot of people are talking about this, is that the Russian military, they hit a building which allegedly was the former UK visa center in Kiev. I believe Russia hit this with a drone, and this was the former visa center of Kiev. At least these are the reports that we're getting. I can't confirm this 100%, but the reports are, the claims are that that this building was still being utilized by the UK in one way or another. The UK military or UK intel sources. Once again, I can't confirm any of this. What we have is some video and some reports which claim that this building that the Russians hit yesterday in Kiev was the former visa center for the UK, and it may have still have been used by the UK government. It's interesting if this is true, and I don't know if it's true. I can't say, but if this is true, then it's interesting because of the statements that Russian officials have been making over the past couple of days, where they are saying that the UK is principally behind the attacks into the Russian Federation, behind the attacks on the Kerch Bridge, and even behind the train attacks the other week in Bryansk and Kursk. Actually, Lavrov yesterday, speaking at the Russian, I believe it's called the Future 2050 Forum, where Elon Musk's father showed up. He was a participant at this event. Lavrov, he just said it straight up that the UK is 100% behind all of the attacks into Russia. So that's what makes this report interesting, if this is indeed true. The Russian military, they're now in the Dnipropetrovsk region, so they're advancing into Dnipropetrovsk and advancing closer to the Dnieper River, and yeah, and that's what's going on in the conflict, or at least yesterday, with the strikes into Kiev. The Russian military, they also hit Odessa and Dnipropetrovsk with missiles and drones. I wonder if this is all part of the Russian retaliation. It doesn't seem like it. Maybe a part of all the missile strikes and the drone strikes over the last 3-4 days is part of the Russian retaliation for the collective West and Ukraine targeting the Russian airfields and the attacks on the trains. But it feels as if this is not the full retaliation. I just get the sense that the real retaliation is yet to come. I also get the sense that, and we're discussing this with Alexander. I'm discussing this with Alexander. We've talked about this on videos that we've done on the Duran, that Russia may have upgraded the SMO in secret, behind the scenes. It seems it seems that Russia is really taken off the gloves over the past 4 or 5 days, and they're really going after Kiev, especially Kiev, really hard. There are reports that Russia's going to start going after high-level Ukraine officials who they believe have been behind many of the attacks into Russia and the terrorist attacks against the Russian Federation. It just feels as if the SMO has been upgraded and that Russia has not made an official announcement, at least to the public. They haven't said anything, but that's just speculation. The attacks from the Russian military over the last 3-4 days have just been absolutely brutal, and they're just hammering Ukraine, and Ukraine can't do anything about it. Their air defense system is completely depleted. So Lavrov yesterday, speaking at this forum, as I mentioned, said that the UK is 100% helping Ukraine to stage terrorist acts. Kiev would not have been able to carry out attacks inside Russia on its own, the foreign minister has said. Boy, did Lavrov say a lot of interesting things at this event. Let me pull up some of his quotes. It was the Forum of the Future 2050. And I do believe Elon Musk's father was there. I'm just looking to see if this was the event that he was at. I think that was the event that he was attending. He said some very complimentary things about Russia and about Moscow. He was very impressed with Moscow. It's an impressive city, that's for sure. Lavrov, speaking during the Forum of the Future 2050 in Moscow on Monday, acknowledged that the risk of the rise in the level of terrorist threat exists in Russia. It is obvious that all this is being done by the Ukrainian side, but it would have been helpless without the support from the British, he said. Such activities were previously backed by both the US and the UK, but now we would have to do solely with the British, Lavrov claimed. Although, who knows, maybe there are still some special services in the US that are participating in such activities by inertia, but the British are 100% involved in them, Lavrov stressed. I don't think he mentioned the French or the Germans. He's singling out the British. And when he means that some parts of the US may also be involved in the attacks by inertia, interesting choice of words. You know, he's talking about the deep state intel services, the neocons. Of course, he's talking about the neocons. These are the US forces that are involved along with the British by inertia. They are involved in the attacks into Russia. But Lavrov is crystal clear, man. The British, they are behind all of this, according to Russia. Lavrov also said at this event that in 2021, he was meeting with Blinken of the Biden administration, and Lavrov told how Blinken provoked the war in Ukraine in 2021. Russia demanded guarantees of Ukraine's neutrality, but Blinken told Lavrov during the negotiations, get this, Blinken told Lavrov during the negotiations that Russia should forget about these demands and the US would definitely deploy its short and medium-range missiles in Ukraine. You know who broke this story first? This Lavrov story, that he was meeting with Blinken, and he told Blinken, this is in 2021, this is before the SMO, everybody. Before the SMO, the conflict did not need to happen. Lavrov meets with Blinken, and he tells Blinken, look, just tell us that Ukraine is going to be neutral. Give us guarantees that Ukraine is not going to enter NATO. And what did Blinken say? He said, screw that. He said, screw that, man. Not only are we not going to give you guarantees, Mr. Foreign Minister, but we are going to deploy short and medium range missiles. Take that, Foreign Minister Lavrov. That's Blinken diplomacy. Ray McGovern broke this, and Alexander broke this. Ray McGovern posted this in an article. No one caught on to it. The great Ray McGovern, no one caught on to this. Alexander noticed this. I believe he posted it on Consortium News. And Alexander talked about this in a video update. And then I believe David Sachs also caught on to Alexander's video, commenting on Ray McGovern's intel and sources. And there you have it. They talked about this whole thing about, I want to say 2 years ago. And it really went under the radar. Big up to Ray McGovern, Alexander, David Sachs talked about this. And now you have the confirmation from Lavrov, very public confirmation in a forum in front of the world. Lavrov is saying that Blinken had the opportunity to prevent the conflict. All Blinken had to say, all the Biden White House had to say was, absolutely, we'll put together the freaking guarantees that Ukraine will not enter NATO. I mean, we will put it together. Ukraine's never going to enter into NATO. We'll put a document together. We'll put it in their constitution, whatever. That's all Blinken had to do, man. Nope, not for Blinken. Not only that, but Blinken said we're going to deploy, according to Lavrov, we're going to deploy short and medium-range missiles into Ukraine. Quite an amazing statement from Lavrov in public at this forum. An amazing statement from the Russian foreign minister. And the chief negotiator for Russia, Medinsky, he was speaking to Rick Sanchez. I believe he has a show with RT. I'm not sure. But anyway, it was an interview that he gave yesterday. And he revealed that in February, late February, that he was the chief negotiator the first time around in Istanbul in 2022. And in late February, Russia was ready to sign an agreement, a peace treaty with Ukraine. They were ready to sign it. Medinsky said that as they were negotiating, they put together, I believe he said, a 19-page document. He said a very detailed document. It didn't cover everything, but it had the framework, a very detailed framework to end the special military operation, which was only about a month and a half old. And as they were negotiating in 2022, and that Russia was ready to sign this, and everything was good, and Ukraine was ready to sign this, and that would have been it. But Biden, Boris, they were having none of it. And the terms for Ukraine, well, Those terms were very, very good for Ukraine back then in 2022. So quite an amazing revelation from Medinsky. Not much of a surprise, but it's always interesting to hear them talk about it, to hear the people that were actually negotiating or the people that were actually in the room talk about it and admit it as to what was going on. Russia was ready to end the SMO about a month and a half into it, and Ukraine was ready as well. But the Biden administration and Boris, they said, nope, no way. According to Medinsky, on better terms than Ukraine will ever get again. Medinsky revealed to us that not only was Russia prepared to sign a peace treaty in Istanbul 3 years ago, but it was ready to do so on the very first day of the talks, February 28th, 2022, the very first day of negotiations. I believe the first negotiations took place in, I want to say, Belarus, and then they shifted over to Istanbul. So Putin's goal, his aim at the beginning of the special military operation was not to capture Kiev in 3 days, like Mark Milley, the propaganda that Mark Milley put out. Putin wants to capture Kiev in 3 days, in 72 hours, in 3,000 minutes. No, man, no. It was a very small force, and Putin's goal was to get Ukraine to the negotiating table so they could just say that they're going to remain neutral and not enter NATO. That was his goal, pretty much. And he almost had it. He almost had it. Oh boy, what a tragedy. What a freaking tragedy. They wanted this war, didn't they? The collective West, the Biden administration. They really wanted this war. So what else? What else do I have to say? Trump was giving a press conference, and he talked a lot about the riots, obviously. That's the main top news story in the United States at the moment. But he did talk a bit about Project Ukraine. He said some stuff about speaking with Macron, and they were celebrating World War II, and the Russians, they celebrated the victory in World War II. He said that Russia lost 51 million people in World War II, but it was the United States ultimately that won the war. And then he went on to say, how come the United States does not have a celebration for World War II? After all, he said, the United States, we won. We won the war. It was the United States that won World War II. And then he admitted, that's not the important part, even though a lot of what he said, pretty much everything that he was saying was way off. Trump, man, he then made an admission, which I thought was interesting. And he said that the U.S. is short on ammunition. That was an interesting revelation from Trump. He said, we're a little short on ammunition. That's because it's going very quickly to other countries, especially one, referencing Ukraine.
I think it's a time to celebrate our military. You know, we've rebuilt our military largely. Little low on ammunition. That's because it goes out very fast to other countries, one in particular, but we'll get that back very quickly. But we have a military the likes of which nobody has. Nobody comes close. We have the best equipment in the world. We make the best equipment in the world.
He said we're going to get it back very quickly, though, he said. But Trump's admission that the U.S., even if the U.S. wanted to escalate and wanted to send more and more weapons to Project Ukraine, which is something that the Biden administration, or let's say a Harris administration, would have done had she won, the weapons are just not there. So that was an interesting statement from Trump. Let's talk about the LA riots a little bit. The fourth day of the riots in Los Angeles. There were some riots that took place in San Francisco, in Austin, Texas, and in New York. The video that I've seen, the riots don't look big, huge, out of control. Not small, but not even close to what we're seeing in Los Angeles. But the feud between Newsom and Trump. That's what's happening on a political level. It is U.S. President Trump facing off against Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. Newsom said that he's going to take Trump to court. He is going to sue the Trump administration. This is exactly what Donald Trump wanted. He flamed the fires and illegally acted to federalize the National Guard. The order he signed doesn't just apply to California. It will allow him to go into any state and do the same thing. We're suing him. And then Newsom went on to say that Trump is going around saying that he's going to arrest a sitting governor. Trump admits he will arrest a sitting governor simply because he ran for office. Well, Newsom, you were calling for Trump's arrest, were you not? When he was president and when he was not president, you were going on and on. Your entire Democrat Party, the entire establishment media, with the exception of, say, Fox News, and not all of Fox News, by the way, but you guys cannot stop talking about arresting Trump, impeaching Trump, arresting Trump. Happy with the court cases, very happy with the court cases. All of these things Newsom was pushing, he was talking about. So, if Trump is talking about arresting Newsom, well, you were doing the same. And as far as the arresting him goes, yesterday I played a video where Gavin Newsom tells MSNBC, arrest me. He came out and said, arrest me. So, if Trump is repeating it or if he's saying it, Newsom is daring the Trump administration to arrest him. It's a political conflict right now between Trump, the Trump White House, and Newsom, the Trump White House and the Democrats. That's what's going on here. And the Democrats, they're hoping that Trump backs down, and the Trump White House, they cannot back down, because that would be a defeat to the Democrats. And of course, if Trump is able to restore order to Los Angeles, which I imagine he will. By the way, 700 Marines are now going to be deployed to LA as well. But that will be a win for Trump if he can restore order. So this is a political battle, and of course, Newsom. He is now the face of the anti-Trump White House Democrat Party. The Democrats did not have a front runner. It was not clear who was going to be the front runner for 2028. Now it seems very clear that at this moment it's Gavin Newsom. Trump went after Newsom in a post on Truth Social, and he brought up the LA fires. He brought those up and the way Newsom handled the fires. And yeah, Newsom took a huge hit. He took a huge hit during the coup. He took a massive hit during the fires. And in a way, this is Newsom's chance to reestablish himself if he can somehow get Trump to walk back, say the National Guard or something like that. Then Newsom will consider it a win. Anyway, that's what's going on. A lot of posts on X from Newsom towards Trump, Trump towards Newsom. The LA riots, Summer of Love, Part 2. At least that's what they're trying to get going. Who is behind what is happening in LA? Who's supplying the masks, the shields? And how come the Trump administration does not do anything about it? We all know who it is. We all have an idea as to which powerful forces are behind all of this, delivering all of these supplies to many of the protesters, to many of the rioters. Because we've seen it play out in Georgia. We saw it recently in Georgia. We saw it in 2014 at the Maidan. We've seen these forces at work. Now they're in LA. They're in LA, baby. All right. I think today's going to be a short video, huh? I've covered most of the news topics. Let's, do we have any other news? Or should we do a clown world? Oh, there was a terrible tragedy, by the way, in Austria, man. I believe 11 school kids were shot, died. A school shooting by another, from what I understand, a classmate who was getting bullied. At least those are the early reports, at a school in Graz in Austria. And the student who did the shooting, from what I understand, self-deleted. This is my understanding of what happened, but we'll wait for some more information. When this video is recorded, I'm going to see what else they're saying about this breaking tragedy from Austria. Anyway, let's get to some other news here. Mark Rutte, he was speaking at the Chatham House, and Rutte, he said that Putin is not serious for a peace, for negotiations, and if he was serious, then Putin would show up at the negotiating table. And Rutte said he would not send, instead, Putin would not send some historian popping up, referring to Medinsky, the chief negotiator. Keep in mind, Medinsky was the negotiator in 2022. No one had a problem with it. Now, all of a sudden, they have a huge problem with it. But the NATO CEO saying that Putin is not serious about peace. If he was serious, he would have shown up in Istanbul. Zelensky didn't even go to Istanbul. He went to Ankara, and then he took off to Albania. But who cares? Who cares? Anyway, if Putin was serious, he would have shown up to Istanbul instead of sending his historian, instead of sending some historian to the negotiations. Well, you know, if NATO was serious, CEO Mark Rutte of peace, if they were serious, they would not have sent a comedian actor who wears high heel shoes to the negotiations. Just saying, man. Just saying. Better to send a historian than a comedian, right? Oh, boy. Anyway, Rutte went on to talk about how all of Europe is now on the eastern flank, and they're all being threatened by Russia. NATO's Rutte, we're all on the eastern flank now. Military alliance chief makes the case for gargantuan defense spending increase as Vladimir Putin lurks. He's lurking. Where is Putin? He's lurking. He's lurking behind the tree, behind the lamppost. Where is Putin? Hey, Mr. Pigeons, do you know if Putin is lurking somewhere? Do you know where Putin is lurking? See, even the pigeons are afraid. Even the pigeons are walking away because Putin is lurking. CEO Mark Rutte. They have the cat food right here, but it's been unclaimed by the Greek cats. So what did Rutte say? Russia could be ready to use military force against NATO within 5 years. Let's not kid ourselves. We're all on the eastern flank now. The fact is, we need a quantum leap in our collective defense. The fact is, we must have more forces and capabilities to implement our defense plans in full. The fact is, danger will not disappear even when the war in Ukraine ends. Lots of facts. Rutte, he is dropping the facts. He is dropping some facts, Mark Rutte. That's right. It's not going to end when the war ends. Putin is not going to stop even as he defeats Project Ukraine. So as the CEO of NATO, I am urging all of the NATO members to give me money. Give me money. He's the CEO of NATO. He needs money. France is saying that they don't have the money, by the way. France can't afford military spending splurge. Experts have questioned the feasibility of a defense budget hike as the country's debt to GDP ratio hits 113%. 113%. Now do Greece. Now do Greece's debt to GDP ratio. Greece, Italy, Portugal, Spain. Is there a country, maybe Germany, is there a country in the European Union that's under 100%? I'm sure there's a few, but there's a lot of countries in the European Union that have a debt to GDP of over 100%. France, over 100%, 113%. Well, Rutte, he said in a speech many months ago that even if you have a lot of debt, and right now you don't think you can bump up your military spending, just take the money out of healthcare, out of social services, out of pensions. Just take the money from pensions and hand it over to me, because Putin is lurking. Pigeons of Greece, where is the Putin? He is lurking. Mark Rutte is going to take over the give me money mantle. When Zelensky is gone and living in one of his villas in Miami or Italy or wherever he's going to be, Rutte is going to be running around. Hey, give me money. Give me money. I'm NATO CEO. Putin lurking. Oh boy, I gotta get a Rutte voice. I gotta get a Rutte voice going. Mirotvorets, the Ukraine hit list, which on their website, I'm not sure if they still have this on their website, on the homepage, it says offices in Langley and Warsaw, I believe, is what it says on the top right or top left of the header. I don't know what that's all about. But they've added Fico to the list. They've added Lula and Dodic. New additions to the Mirotvorets. What did Lula do? He said something about Zelensky a couple of days ago, didn't he? I forgot what he said. Oh man, what did Lula say about Zelensky or Ukraine a couple of days ago? Let me know in the comments. That's what did it. Lula said something about Ukraine and something about Zelensky. It's like on the tip of my tongue. And that irked the Mirotvorets, the hit list guys in Kiev, in Langley, and in Poland, in Warsaw. All right. Clown world, another clown world. How about an 18th sanctions package has just been announced. We just finished with the 17th. And the 17th sanctions package did a lot of damage to Russia. A lot of damage. I'm hearing 4.8% growth. And it's really pummeling Russia, the 17th sanctions package. That was announced like a month ago. Anyway, the European Commission, they're saying that on the 18th, they will announce, it's all ready to go, another sanctions package against Russia, the 18th. I believe on the 18th, they're going to announce the 18th sanctions package. See what they're doing there? And they want to get all of this announced before they have the G7. They have the G7, then they have the NATO meeting this month. So they have a lot of events to go to, a lot of shrimp cocktails to eat. Champagne, caviar, shrimp cocktails. They have a lot of eventing to go to. They love their events. But yeah, another sanctions package. We're on 18 now. Seems like every month or two we're getting sanctions packages now. It's going to be a monthly event, a sanction on Russia. This time they're targeting, according to the reports, the European Commission, they're targeting Nord Stream and they're targeting Russian banks. I don't know what they're going to target when it comes to Russian banks. I mean, they've pretty much done everything they can with Russian banks. But anyway, Nord Stream, they're obviously doing this because they're afraid, whatever they're going to do with Nord Stream, They're afraid that the Trump administration is going to create some sort of a joint venture with Russia, and then they're going to take the joint venture and reopen Nord Stream, but it will be the United States that's going to be selling the gas to Germany, and they don't want cheap gas. Germany is making sure that they do not get any cheap gas that will help their business, that will help their economy, that will drive prices down, that will create jobs. You can't have none of that if you're Germany. So they're making sure that they're going to sanction Nord Stream, and any companies connected to Nord Stream are going to be on this new sanctions package. And that's that.
I don't want to run the business.
Anyway, that is the video, theduran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, and X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch like what I'm wearing in this video update. There is a link in the description box down below. And everyone, be very, very careful. As Mark Rutte has said, Putin is lurking. He is lurking everywhere. So be very, very careful. Take care.